Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today I will be reacting to Tottenham's first loss under Ange Postecoglou, first real competition loss as we went out of the Carabao Cup to Fulham in the second round of the Carabao Cup. After penalties ensued after 90 minutes, we were tied 1-1. And probably the biggest talking point of this game was the team selection. We knew he was going to rotate a little bit. It wasn't a Premier League game, and we had some main lineup injuries. Udogie came off with an injury. Maddison came off with an injury, one game before at United. So all of those players maybe, get a rest, but Ange actually ended up making 9 changes. Perisic, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, Skip, Solomon, Sanchez, Royal, Davies, and Forster all came into the side. Van de Ven and Richarlison were the only ones to hold their place. And on the most part, it was a very, very disappointing night. For the most of the 90 minutes, it felt like we were back under the Conte or Jose era. Very, very hard to get into our final third. We did really nothing creative. A lot of it was on Fulham attacking, and really there was no spark, nothing creative. And I think a lot of that stemmed from the players we played. Now, we've known for a long time, Sanchez and Davies have never been good, and for the last 7 cup exits, whether it's European or Carabao Cup or FA Cup, last 7 cup exits have included Sanchez and Davies in the starting lineup. So clearly that shows they're not good enough. And too many of these losses have come against teams that just aren't good enough. So this year it was, Fulham. I mean, we should have been beating them considering we put 2 past Man United just a couple weekends ago. But Sanchez and Davies were not good enough, nor was Emerson Royal. In our midfield, Højbjerg and Skip, that pivot just does not work. There is no fluency, no attacking desire between them. It's all kind of rigid defensiveness, which does not help our case under Ange. Lo Celso, I thought he was limited by the midfielders, but instead of changing Højbjerg or Skip, Ange decided to bring Lo Celso off, and not only even for Maddison, he brought on Dane Scarlett, which I think was a really, really weird decision. Because I thought Lo Celso, if he had a little better service into that, getting the ball to him from his deep-lying midfielders, he'd be able to carry the ball, but interestingly, he went off right at halftime. The front three wasn't crazy exciting today. Perisic looked very off the mark. Solomon grew into the game, but he didn't really get much service in the first half. And Richarlison finally got that one goal that he's been looking for so long. It was a good header to get us level, but he's been looking for that goal for a while. Didn't do anything else big, but it was a really, really important goal, not only for us, but for his own mentality, just to make sure he starts to gain confidence. But a lot of this loss is on Ange. I think he just did not make the right team choices. He should have known, that for a while, Skip, Davies, a lot of these players have just not been good enough. And a lot of it falls on our midfield and defense. And we know Højbjerg and Skip cannot play creatively. They're not built for the Ange system. So I don't know how we were going to go into that match with both of them starting out. You would have thought that one of Sarr or Bissouma at least came in to help provide a little bit of creativity. But no, nothing. And the second thing was the changes. We made one change at halftime, and it wasn't really that impactful of a change. It was Lo Celso off for Scarlett. Yeah, I want to see more stuff from Scarlett, but he played three passes in total and had 10 touches. So no effect from him, and we were basically on our own until the 71st minute. That's when Son, Sarr, and Kulusevski came on, which is fine, but Maddison came on like 10 minutes later, which was way too late, because he definitely changed a little bit of the game. We started playing a lot better once he came on, but it took way too long for him to come on. The only bright spots of today was really Van de Ven and Richarlison. Van de Ven, I know he scored an own goal, but honestly, I think that falls more on Sanchez getting cooked 17 times down the right side, and less on Van de Ven scoring the own goal. I think it was just an unfortunate deflection, but to play within that defensive line and still play quite well and make Adama Traore, who's an absolute beast physically and in terms of how fast he can run, Van de Ven handled him very well. So I think that's one of the biggest pluses from today. Everything else, I mean, it was a pretty shocking result. And I think this really kills our momentum because we were on a good roll. We were 3 games unbeaten. We had just come off the back of a win against Manchester United and an away win against Bournemouth, which we haven't done since like February of this year. So we were on a good run, but I think this has just killed it. And of course it's the players' fault, right? Because they didn't perform, but more than anything, it's Ange's fault for selecting them because I think he had a lot of time in preseason to really judge how the players would play. So to still go ahead and pick Højbjerg, Skip, Davies, and Sanchez in this starting lineup, even after he saw that they just cannot work in this attacking fluid lineup, surely says a lot. And the midfield and defense affects everything because in an Ange system, the fullbacks run into midfield and the center backs are alone by themselves. But Sanchez couldn't be trusted, so Højbjerg would stay back. Skip can't play progressively, which means Lo Celso gets no service, and then the front 3 just have to fend for long balls from Forster or Sanchez, and that basically sends us into the way that Conte was playing. So really, it's a lot of it is down to the players, but Ange really, I think he could have picked a better team for today, especially considering that the Carabao Cup was a competition that we really could have gone far in. I think it was a big potential. I know we entered the tournament a round earlier, but I think we could have gone far. This was a big chance for a trophy. And with no European football, we have a far less game load, so we're not going to be playing week in, week out. So I think Carabao Cup would have been, we could have handled it, but we went, I think, way too weak today, and the players that we selected were just not good enough. And so now we're stuck with 1 game a week of Tottenham until December, which is a shame because I think this was a big opportunity. But hopefully, what this shows is that Ange is still inexperienced. However much he's been at the top, however good he's been with us, having the incredible style of play and the vision that he's had and the signings that he's made, this shows his inexperience. And I hope he learns from this because I think we have no reason to not back him. I think Ange is easily the man who we should go with going forward. So hopefully this is just something that he learns from, and that when the FA Cup comes around, we don't make that same mistake. Because, again, the FA Cup is another competition that we have a very high chance of winning. Even more so because there's more non-league teams there. So we'll have an even higher chance of getting an easier draw. Obviously no guarantee, but a higher chance of getting an easier draw. So I think we can't make the same mistake for the FA Cup, but today was definitely disappointing. I don't know. And then moving on to the penalty shootout. So after 1-1 in the Carabao Cup, after 90 minutes, you go straight to a penalty shootout. I don't know why Sanchez would take the 3rd penalty. Lacking confidence all day, not playing well at all, and somehow he takes the 3rd penalty, which I just don't get. Son scored a very, very close penalty. It went right under the goalkeeper. Kulusevski's penalty was good. Maddison was fine. But I just don't get why Davinson Sanchez took a 3rd penalty. He had no confidence. There's no reason for him to take one there. So it just doesn't really make sense to me why he did that. And I think it shows a lot of the players that need to get out of the team. But we've only got, 2 days, 3 days until the transfer window closes. So there's a big job on our hands, on Levy's hands, on Ange's hands to get these players out. I'm talking Sanchez is probably on his way out by the looks of things, especially after his performance today. Højbjerg could be going out to Man United or Atletico Madrid. There's a couple other players. I think Tanganga's in talks with a loan move away. Jed Spence is in talks with a move away. So slowly weeding through these players and getting them out is going to be very, very important for us. But I don't know why Sanchez took that 3rd penalty still. I just don't get it. And I hope that he can, that we can not make this mistake forward, because there are a lot of other players that should have taken a penalty. Højbjerg is a good penalty taker. I think Davies is a fine penalty taker. Maddison could have taken it before Sanchez, so I just don't get why Sanchez took that penalty. But that's it for today's reaction video to Tottenham's 1-1 draw and eventual penalty loss against Fulham in the Carabao Cup. If you enjoyed and want to see more Spurs content, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below what your thoughts on this game were and where Spurs fell short. And until next time, come on you Spurs!